ABC7's Harry Porterfield tells us why those keeping the station on the air are some people you should know.
All you need is love.
It may be the reddest building in Round Lake Heights, and it was once a police station. Today, it serves a different purpose.
And it's rocking and rolling right now like it used to be.
The DJ is Mark Shanahan, host of the Doo-Wop Hour. He's a volunteer, and so is everyone else working at WRLR 98.3 FM.
I went in front of village boards and all sorts of organizations and said, here's my idea, here's my concept, will you buy into it? And they're all like, not a chance in hell.
Those attitudes changed, and the station went on the air 3.5 years ago to become the only low-power FM station in Illinois not affiliated with a school or a church.
I'm not only a DJ here, I'm their treasurer of the radio station and on the board of directors.
Its signal can be heard 15 to 20 miles away. Many of Rich Kingsley's listeners are veterans.
We all touch lots of people's lives. I do a lot for the military. I have shows playing in Iraq, Afghanistan. I do a lot at the VA hospital, North Chicago and Hines.
When the police moved out, they left behind an empty jail cell, which now houses a WRLR-FM transmitter. Carolyn Howard oversees scheduling of commercials as the station's traffic manager and co-hosts the show.
This is my playground, so to speak. It's not about money, it's about passion. I really enjoy what I do here, and I love giving Carolyn a hard time.
And I bring all my talents with all my skills that I have to anything I can do for this station.
The folks at WRLR-FM in Round Lake Heights, some volunteers you should know. To learn more about the station, log on to abc7chicago.com and click on Someone You Should Know. Cheryl, Ron.
I knew radio was still fun somewhere.
It's fun there, that's for sure.
That's great.
It is great.
Somebody big just died. Harry Porterfield, the legendary Chicago news anchor and reporter, is dead at 95 years old. Here to help eulogize him is Mike North. Mike, that's a voice as smooth as butter, isn't it?
Someone you should know.
That's right.
He was a carpenter during the day and a male stripper at night. And brought in money for Catholic charities. And then dated a nun. I mean, you know what? Harry was the best. Because I saw Harry like in 1965 on TV. I mean, he started in 65. I mean, and before that, he was a stagehand at a place I was on. You know, people don't know this. I'm the longest running media member at WGN that's still around. I was on Romper Room when I was 5 for a week. And Harry Porterfield wasn't there yet, I don't think. But he was a stagehand. He might have been because he was 95. And
God bless him.
Yeah. And that's when the stars were the anchors or the reporters. I mean, I can name you every reporter. I mean, even at Sutton High School where I went, we had a disturbance back in 68 during the Vietnam War and protests.
Sure.
And there was some racial stuff back then. And all the reporters came from all the stations. And I knew every one of them from just watching TV. Hey, there's Frank Matthew. Hey, Frank! And you'd wave. Frank Matthew from Channel 7, you know. And then you'd see Bob Petty. And Bob Petty waving, you know. And there'd be different reporters that you knew. Who were some other ones? I know I'm missing. Bob Wallace from CBS, from Channel 2.
Sure.
Did quirky things. But Harry Porterfield was known not only for someone you should know, but he was a really good anchor man, a decent anchor man. So, first of all, I wasn't shocked that he passed because he was 95.
Long life.
Doing great. His wife and him were still married. What a run. 55 years. He's got what? Kids? 4 kids? Grandkids? The whole thing? So
yes, I believe he's got 4 children, 1 grandkid, and 1 great-grandchild.
Right. So, I mean, what a life he had. What a run he had. He worked primarily at CBS, but he was at WLS TV.
Sure.
At the time, because CBS got rid of him. Now, they hired Bill Curtis back, trying to relive the olden golden days. It didn't have the same effect. And they demoted Harry, okay, which looked like, come on, man. Harry's been there the whole time, the whole ball waxed. Curtis left, now he's back. You know, even though he was great, him and Walter Jacobson. I mean, I love the shop. But what they forgot is Porterfield was on those years and had a following also. And his following was loyal, just like CBS had Curtis and Jacobson. It was the other people also that worked. I mean, they have lifelong employees over there. Megan Mauke, I mean, Mai Martinez was working over there for a while. In fact, I had a sports show and I went over and talked to them to put my show on, and I did. And I worked with the people that I got good ratings against, but were wonderful. CBS was once a great shop, and I know that they try their butts off over there. TV's just not the same as it used to be all over. So Ryan Baker and all those people, they all knew Harry. So Harry dies at 95, and this is another guy you knew. Okay, this is your second guy in a row. You busted your cherry the other day.
Big time, Mike.
Your impression of the great Harry Porterfield, my friend.
Mike, I for those that don't know, I went to school at Columbia College, Chicago. I wanted to be a news producer. That's what I wanted to do. And I was in an on-camera teleprompter class. Mm-hmm. And Mike, who do you think we watched for how to learn to read off a teleprompter, how to be a professional? We watched Harry Porterfield.
Nice.
And he was the example of a professional, of an on-camera presence. He knew how to speak. He knew how to have the voice. And it's just kind of something I kind of modeled myself after. Just kind of the way he approached being on camera, the way he talked to people. I mean, someone you should know, the reason that exists is because he just loved talking to people.
Right. He made the regular guy something that is lost in news. You don't see, the only time you see him is if there's something bad happened. And what he did was he told these stories. There should be somebody that should do it again. They should bring someone you should know back. Because that would bring some, but it costs money and all this BS and all this crap. And they just, it's not the same as it used to be. Harry, I met Harry numerous times because I did work at CBS for a couple years, and I'd see him. And one time I saw him, and I used to imitate Harry. And I'd see him, and people know me. I joke around. He'd walk by me and I go, someone you should know. I would, he's someone you should know. He's an anchor for CBS. And I go to Harry. One time I said to Harry, Harry, can I be on someone you should know? Not anymore. Everybody knows you. I heard you on the radio the other day, Mike. Great guy, wonderful man, class, elegance. And what's crazy is always stayed out of the public eye, right?
Yeah, always.
And then he gets launched by BBM. And he resigns because he doesn't like the demotion. He's been there long enough. What are you doing to me? Most of Chicago agreed, but it turned into like a racial thing, sort of. Mm-hmm. They got Jesse Jackson involved. And when Jesse Jackson gets involved in certain stations, they back down. They have a heart attack. Sure. The bosses back then used to have strokes. The only time I saw a boss not have a stroke is when somebody said at the score, Jesse Jackson's here to see you. And he's not happy. Right. I go, don't worry about it. And then we became buddies. But they shook in their boots. I go, what are you afraid of? I go, don't worry about him. Well, I explained my position to him. He was cool. But when you called Jesse Jackson, now Harry was overwhelmed because I think Harry was probably saying, where were all these people when I was on?
Yeah.
But see, CBS has a loyal following.
Mm-hmm.
And they never left. They just couldn't add on. And TV was starting to get bastardized all over. So, I mean, the guy was 95 years old. He lived in Munster, Indiana. A short illness. That's what you'd expect, right? He didn't have to suffer.
Talk about short illness, living a beautiful life, talking to the people. Mike, this guy was born in Saginaw, Michigan. I'm a Michigander myself now. So August 29th, 1928. He actually began his career as a disc jockey for WKNX, which is now WUYI TV, an NBC affiliate in Saginaw, Michigan, in 1955.
Wow.
And then
how about this, though? How about this? He went back to DePaul University in 1993 while still working in television to get his law degree. How about that?
That's about as cool as it gets, Mike.
Well, that's called staying out of the bars. If I would have done that, that's 8 hours I could have added on and maybe done something with myself back in the day. But you know what? We all have our different quirks. He was a good family guy. He loved everyday people. You know, he got Operation Push involved. I mean, that was a big deal. And then what happens is he ends up going back there. They give him that deal.
Yeah.
And I used to watch him during the day when he started doing he brought back, I mean, really, you watch the 11 a.m. He was sort of like a destination. The toupee was tilted a little bit at times.
Yeah, a little bit.
There you go. And, you know, he just would show up. You look at him and his lovely wife. That's a legend, boy. That's a legend. Look at him. You know what? I saw that picture. I was saying that looks good. That looks damn good.
Happy up until the very end, Mike. And actually, the barroom, the man behind the scenes, the ultimate producer, Aldo Gandia, worked for the amazing Harry Porterfield. And you guys talked earlier today on Mike North's press conference, and he gave us a little bit of a video clip talking about Harry. So let's check that out real quick, Mike.
Yep.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Joe. And thank you, Cumberland Chapels and Pennyville Station, for this opportunity to share my thoughts about Harry Porterfield. In 1984, I interviewed for a producer position to be Harry Porterfield's producer for his show called Channel to the People, which was a long-running public affairs show, and I was thrilled at the opportunity. I saw it while I was a kid growing up here in Chicago, and to be able to produce that show was a major boost for my career. I got the job, and Harry, during the interview process, was very complimentary, very kind, and I was really looking forward to working with him. Unfortunately, after I arrived and working on the first show for him, he left the station. And I won't get into that whole story, but he left the station, and I will forever, be saddened by the opportunity that I didn't get to fully produce an episode for him. But he meant a lot to my career, that opportunity, because he gave the go-ahead to hire me to be his producer. And then I ended up hosting the show a year later after working with Phil Ponce and John Davis and Burley Hines on the show. Station management said, well, we'd love for you to host it. And so that wouldn't have been possible if it wasn't for Harry Porterfield. So to all his family, his friends, and his fans, my condolences. God bless you, Harry Porterfield. Rest in peace. Thank you. Bye.
That was awesome. The set looks terrific. He never looks that good for me, ever.
He cleans up nice, I think.
Oh, my God. I mean, it's cleaner than the Board of Health. No, Aldo and I today, when we did and you could check out our barroom show today on the Bears. But afterwards, I said, you got to come on. Because, he's been so busy. And I know he wanted to come on because, you know what, he looks spick and span and ready to go. The set looks great. And if you saw in the background there, I got the same type of deal. You got some Emmys and you got some awards there. And I'm sure he won some of those at CBS. So that's our, you got any more pictures? Let's run some pictures by, I knew someone would bring up the toupee. That's okay.
Yeah,
it was a good one. I've seen worse. Let's throw some pictures back up there real quick. Look at him.
Young buck there, Mike. He's a long time in the news industry.
Oh, yeah. Look at him. Now what? Now what are you going to do? I'm Harry Porterfield. Someone you should know. He likes to kick his shoes around off the banister of his building. Okay. I don't know what that means. And
no one has a voice like him, Mike.
Oh, he was so good. Smooth. And the condolences to the family.
And Mike, I know we also want to thank our wonderful sponsors.
Wait a minute. Hold on. You mean Pennyville Station, where you can go eat, have anything you want, 112 Main Street? I heard Aldo bring it up, and I said, you know what? That isn't good enough. I'm glad you reminded me about that. Off my game a little bit tonight. Usually I bring it up in the middle of the show, but we got all sorts of stuff happening. We've been having people been dying 2 at a time.
They're dropping like flies, Mike.
Dropping like flies. I mean, there's bounties out. There's no doubt about it. We can pay by the head, but we loved Harry. And you know what? When you have a wedding, or if you want to have a private party, they got party room, they got this, they got that, they got a beautiful bar. Tino Antonacci, my buddy over there working there, his son, the owner, Tony Antonacci, wonderful people. And then you got, and that's right across from the railroad station. Then you got Cumberland Chapels. Cumberland Chapels, but you have Park Ridge where you have the railroad station right across from Pennyville Station. Then you have Cumberland Chapels, the most famous funeral chapel, I think, in the state. Cumberland Chapels, everybody knows it. I hear my buddy Amanda Scalco, the comedian, Sebastian, bringing them up on his special, Cumberland Chapels. So yeah, I saw it on TV. I mean, they're famous. I mean, when you die and you want a nice place to go, fancy, reasonable, nice people, plenty of parking, cleaner than
what it's all about.
Go check out Cumberland Chapels. So on behalf of our sponsors, on behalf of Rao Jewelers, also for the Barroom Show, all our great sponsors, Cumberland Chapels, Rao Jewelers, Pennyville Station, more to come. And we need the Bears to keep winning. I'm sure Harry was a big Bear fan. He would have enjoyed it. And Joe, I'll hand it off to you, buddy.
Yep. And for everyone watching the Barroom Network, tune in tonight. Dan and Aldo Bare Their Souls coming up at 8 p.m. Central. Tune in for that, just about 45 minutes. And for all of us here at Somebody Big Just Died and all of our sponsors, may Harry rest in peace.
And may you rest in peace after we bill you after this month.
That's very true. All right. Take care, everybody, and we'll see you next time.